Gotta confuse the muscles, right, babe? Wrong. That is wrong, babe. That is so totally wrong. Okay, here's the reason why this idea came to fruition, right? And this is just my theory as to why this came to fruition, okay? You got these lazy trainers, these lazy freaking trainers, or maybe they're uneducated, and they did not want to program properly for their clients. So instead of coming up with a linear, progressive process for weight training, they decided that every time that their clients would come to the gym, they'd improvise some random workout filled with burpees and jumping jacks and freaking, battle ropes, and then they throw a little resistance training in there, and then they do Tabata, Tabata, whatever, right? They do all this fun shenanigans with the boot camps, and then they take you to Circuit City, and you go do a circuit, and then you say, how you doing, and what are you gonna do? And it would just be this random, sweaty mess. And although you'd feel like you got a great workout, and perhaps the next day you were sore, so you thought that you were getting something out of it, really there was no rhyme or reason. There was no method to the madness, which, trust me, it was total madness. So what am I ranting about and getting overly passionate about? Well, I'm getting passionate about the fact that gotta confuse the muscles by throwing a bunch of different random stimuli at yourself in terms of a training perspective is kind of just completely wrong. Instead of going in and doing a random workout every single time, or even if you're on some kind of plan, let's just say you're doing legs every Tuesday, and you do squats, leg press, and leg extensions one leg day, and then you do stiff leg deadlifts, you do hamstring curls, and you do single leg presses the next week. That's still not a program with progressions. What would be more logical, what would be more productive, is applying the same stimulus and then changing one variable each week. And so this is really a concept that's called progressive overload. And really essentially what it is that you're overloading the muscle and you're making progressions based on a single variable. So what do I mean? I mean that, like, okay, let's just say you wanted to do legs on Tuesday. Well, week 1 you would do squats, 5 sets of 5. And week 2, you do squats, 5 sets of 5. And week 3, you do squats, 5 sets of 5. And week 4, you do squats, 5 sets of 5. And then you'd evaluate from there, right? And what you would do is you'd keep the rest time the same. You would keep, the type of squat the same, right? And then what you would really ultimately change is maybe you try and go up in weight for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. And then after that, with your accessory movements, you can use the same principle of trying to progressively overload. Or you can maybe change those movements up a little bit, get a little bit less structured depending on what you're trying to do. But essentially, ultimately, it's going to be the movements that you try and make micro progressions where you're actually going to get something out of it. By constantly changing the stimulus, you're not really doing anything. You're not really making any kind of methodological progress. There's no way to measure anything. There's no way to track anything. There's no way to actually get any stronger on one lift, because 1, you haven't mastered the form. 2 is you haven't actually created adaptations where you train close to failure and then you increase the weight, and that level of failure is going to be different, and it's going to increase and improve each week, right? And so ultimately, being random versus being methodical, it's always going to be advantageous to be methodical. So to give a little analogy, imagine you had to study for a math test, right? Let's just say an Algebra 1 test, okay? Would it make sense to study Algebra 1 week, Calculus another week, Trigonometry another week, Physics another week, and then go take a test in Algebra 1? Or would it make sense that if you have to take a test on an entire unit, you'd study Chapter 1 in the unit, Chapter 2 in the unit, Chapter 3 in the unit, Chapter 4 in the unit, and then review it all? Obviously the latter, where you make progressions, 1, 2, 3, 4, and review. Same principle applies with your training. You want to make progressions that make actual sense. Metrics-based, logical progressions where you master one move and then you go from step 1 to step 2, step 3, step 4. So the whole thing about gotta confuse the muscles is a bunch of random BS that I don't really know where it came from. I'm thinking it's trainers that either didn't know how to program or were too lazy to actually program for their clients. Hope this video helps. You can find me on Instagram, Neal Thakkar Official, Facebook, Neal Thakkar Official. Make sure to like and subscribe. Love y'all. Peace.